Okay, everyone, hopefully you took a shot at this one. X to the 3/8, y to the 1/3, times x to the 7/10, y to the 1/4. Well, what rule do we need if we're rearrange and think the x times the x and the y times the y? It's rule number one. We need to add the exponents on x. We need to add the exponents on y. And so if you might just do this completely in your calculator, of course, but adding the exponents on x and simplifying, adding the exponents on y and simplifying, the answer here is x to the 43 over 40, y to the 7/12. There you go. Okay, so I've got a couple more, and we're going to start to involve some negative exponents now. This one only has the variable m, but a lot going on nonetheless. M to the 7/2, 7 over 2, times m to the negative 5 over 2, all over m to the negative 1/2. So I'm going to show you the approach that I would take, although there's more than one order of ways to go about this. Perhaps, well, if you see a different order, then go for it. And if you get the same answer as I did, you probably did everything right. I'm going to approach this by saying, you know what? I see these negative exponents, but I'm just going to combine the m's here in the numerator. I'm going to put those together as a single m, and then I'll combine that with the one down here in the step following. So if I multiply those, then it's the same rule we just saw. I'm going to add those two numbers. So, all right, 7 over 2 plus negative 5 over 2. I'm still adding. I happen to be adding a negative, but I'm still adding. And okay, if I add those together, well, 7 minus 5, right, 2 over 2. And I've got a 1. So those two m's in the numerator become m to the first. And I'm still dividing by m to the negative 1/2. Okay, at that point, I might say, all right, now I'm dividing. So if I combine the two together, I should subtract 1 minus negative 1/2. Now, people tend to slip up here, and it's understandably why, but we are still subtracting. 1 minus, I just happen to be subtracting a negative, which of course turns into adding. I can use my calculator here. Maybe I can see this one. It's 3 over 2. So my final answer, m to the positive 3 over 2. There's more than one way to go about that one. Again, maybe you got this answer a different way, and that's great. You can certainly do that as well. Okay, I've got one last example for us to end the section, and this one is a beast. Try not to give too much away. Here we go. Big fraction, big set of parentheses, 16n to the negative 1/5 over 81 n to the 6 over 5, all of that to the 1/4. Again, there's more than one way to go about this. But I'm going to just talk through what seems most natural to me, simplest to me. If you do it a different way and get the same answer, then that's great. Okay, I'm going to begin inside these parentheses. I'm going to clean this up as much as I can. And once I've cleaned that up, then I'm going to think about the fact that it's all to the 1/4. Okay, so I'm looking at my n's, one divided by another. So I'm going to subtract negative 1/5 minus 6 over 5. And I've got that here. Okay, so maybe in a calculator to the side, negative 1/5 minus 6/5 is negative 7/5. If my answer here is negative, what I will do is do the reciprocal thing now at the same step. So let me show you the next thing I would write. If that comes out to a negative 7/5, then I'm thinking n to the negative 7/5. Why don't I just go ahead and put that in the denominator as a positive 7/5. 16 over 81 n to the 7/5, that's all to the 1/4. So all I've done is combine those n's together. There they are. Okay, now this is cleaned up as much as I can get it. Now I'll think about that 1/4. The 1/4 will apply to all three parts. I'm going to show you every step. The 1/4 will go to the 16 power. The 81 has the 1/4 power. And the n to the 7/5, sorry, it's a little bit blurry there, is also to the 1/4. And I'll think about each of these three. Okay. 16 raised to the 1/4. Well, I could grab a calculator and do that. Or maybe I can think 1/4 is a fourth root. Honestly, though, if it was me, I would just grab a calculator. 81 to the 1/4, that's the fourth root of 81. Again, I can just grab a calculator. And the n, well, I need to multiply the exponents there. When it's all done, here it is. 16 to the 1/4 is 2. 81 to the 1/4 is 3. And the n, well, if I multiply 7/5 times 1/4, I've got 7/20, n to the 7/20. There's my final answer. That is the end of 8.3 and all of our Chapter 8 discussion. Again, the live meeting on Monday night. I'll have more problems for you guys to look at or take any questions on anything here. Hope to see you then.